What's up guys, back in Canada. Here I am over at Dale's shop and getting my hands dirty already. Got the M5 out of storage the other day. I had to change the bearings in the idler that's on the tensioner pulley. They were a little loose, so that pulley was wobbling a little bit, so I wanted to make sure that was all corrected. Unfortunately now, I can't figure out why the AC isn't working. The system's fully charged, but I'm not getting any cold air, so maybe it's a pressure switch or the HVAC controls or something. But anyways, you guys probably aren't too worried about the M5. Go in here and talk about some Mustang stuff. So here we are. Behind me I got a factory 5-liter block, long block, sitting on the engine stand. You're probably wondering why I am even dealing with a stock motor. Project that I have that I haven't really announced, and I'll probably hold off on announcing what it is, but it requires a factory 5-liter motor. So this one has had some miles on it. I found it online over the winter time. Guy dropped it off. Came complete with all the accessories, which are sitting up there, and also the T5 transmission, which is down on the floor over there. So there's not much known about this motor other than it was running and driving and has about 200,000 kilometers on it. Again, when these Fox bodies are this old now, we never really know actual mileages. So that's about 120,000 miles. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to get it off the stand. So we'll lift it off with this cherry picker and get the bell housing bolted back on, which I will clean back up. From there, be able to bolt the starter in it and do compression tests and see what things look like and see what all is involved. Do I need to do a rebuild? Can I just do rings, gaskets, and whatnot? So that's about it, guys. Going to get this in the Varsol tank, get that cleaned up, and get this off the stand and get everything bolted back together. We got some of our parts out of the Varsol tank, so they are looking clean. Found the flywheel bolts that were very nicely bagged and tagged in that Ziploc bag. I don't know who did that.
You know where everything is. You're not looking, spending half a day looking for parts.
Say 130. It's going to be consistent at 120 across the board.
Right. Then you're just going to be like re-gasket it, call it a day.
But I don't know. I don't know what part of it. I don't know the history of it.
I guess there's no plugs in it. You can't even judge by that, eh? Or do you think
No, the guy had them out already. It wasn't a run, the car was running and driving. The guy just pulled it out to put a built motor in. So it was a driver. But I would think it's getting weak. As a Chevy guy.
exactly.
Well, compared to a Chevy, yeah, it would be weak. This is the worst thing that they ever did here. Is that for that tube that goes across? That emission tube? Yeah. So all it does is get, like, this is full of carbon. So they just clog up.
Yeah, but you gotta run good oil.
So this is why you're saying it's weak. It just needs a good run.
Now I'm gonna say 90 across the board.
This means it's stronger because people didn't run it hard enough. True, you do have a solid point there. You do have a solid point. So you're saying it's automatic or something? So now it's gonna be 140 because it's carbon right up, sealing everything up.
You're gonna just fall in love with Ford, yeah.
So we got the bell housing bolted on with the flywheel and the dust plate. So almost looks like a motor coming back together. Got this brand new high torque mini starter. So this is off a 1993 Mustang. All 93s came with these guys, which are a little bit smaller, and they also have the starting solenoid mounted on the starter itself. So it's actually a pretty good upgrade for anybody because these will fit all previous years of 5-liter motors. So nice little upgrade that you can get. Again, this one's brand new. The wiring, you do have to move a wire off of the factory starter solenoid over, but all of that information is readily available online. I'll put it down in the comments and description area so you guys can see that. So I'm just going to go ahead and find some bolts that will fit through this because I was going through that bag, I didn't find them, and then get this bolted on to the bell housing, and from there we'll get some wires hooked up to a battery and a little push button, and we'll get our compression tester. So the starter's connected. Again, this is the 93 high torque mini starter, so it's kind of easy to attach everything onto the terminals there. So got a fresh battery full of juice here. All right, guys, let's see. We have an engaged starter. So we're gonna get this compression tool together, put it in a cylinder hole, and we're gonna start measuring some readings. All right, so the compression tool comes with several different fittings. You're obviously gonna want the one which is the same threads as the spark plugs for your motor. So go ahead and test this one, as it looks like it is the one. You can see it threads in there, no problem. I can go ahead and connect the other side. And that's it. There's a little pressure relief valve on here to let the air out after it reads this reading. And we're gonna go ahead and see what this reads. Alright guys, so there's our first cylinder reading, and we are sitting at 130 psi. So we're going to hope that the other cylinders give us similar readings. So go ahead and disconnect the compression tester and start testing out the other cylinders, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, it's always good to keep a little diagram so you can keep track of exactly what's going on. So here we go, we were 130 psi in this cylinder, so we will just kind of keep going along. My highest reading was 150 psi My lowest reading was 130 psi. So, you know, in reality, if you're talking 10% variance on 150, that'd be about 15 psi. So we're just below that bar when we're getting into the 130 ranges. So we had 130 on cylinders 6, 7, and 8. And then we had 135 on cylinder number 1. And we had higher readings on cylinders 2, 3, 4, and 5, which were about 145 to 150. So what you could potentially do now is put about a teaspoon of oil down in each cylinder right through the spark plug hole, and that would be a wet reading. So after doing that, if the compression number increases, then that would be able to tell us that the piston rings are a little bit worn and the oil is just filling up the gap of the worn rings. If the numbers don't change, then there could be something else, like a bad valve, potentially a hole in the piston, any of those things. But these numbers are actually pretty good. It's a, you know, fairly healthy motor at the end of the day. All right, guys, I got a small little cup of oil here. I had to modify the cup so I could actually get the oil down into the cylinders. So again, I only poured about a teaspoon down the 3 lowest reading cylinders. So go ahead and see what it reads now. So this cylinder read 130 before, and now it's up to 150. So the rings are a little worn, no big deal. Gonna ring and gasket this motor, freshen it all up, and it's gonna be as good as new for the project that I have still not announced yet. I can tell you one thing, it will be for sale, and it's a super clean car. So that's it. Stay tuned, and we're gonna get this thing cleaned up and torn down. That'll be another video. Get this thing ready to get transplanted into that next project.